It was Christmas Eve, the one night of the year that's supposed to be magic. And I was watching a little girl, no older than my own daughter, digging through my neighbor's trash can for something to eat. The snow was falling, and she was shivering in a threadbare pajama set. And the worst part? Her house was the biggest, fanciest one on the block. It had a Porsche in the driveway and a brand new pool in the back. What I discovered next, it wasn't just neglect. It was a monstrous secret. And it demanded revenge. We've all seen injustice. That feeling in your gut when something is deeply, profoundly wrong. If you've ever wanted to be the person who steps in, who makes it right, who delivers a little bit of cosmic payback to those who truly deserve it, then you need to hear this story. Hit that like button, subscribe, and get ready for a tale of revenge that isn't about anger, but about justice. My name is Mark, and 3 years ago, my world was my daughter, Chloe. Her mom, my wife Sarah, had passed away after a brave fight with cancer a year before. That first Christmas without her was hollow, a quiet, painful ache. Our traditions felt like ghosts. But for Chloe, who was only 6, I had to try. I had to make some kind of magic. So on Christmas Eve, we were baking cookies, or we were attempting to. I'm a web developer, not a baker. Flour was everywhere. We were laughing, and for a moment, the ache felt a little smaller. I sent Chloe to the bathroom to wash the sticky icing off her hands, and I went to take the overflowing trash bag out to the bin. That's when I saw her, my next-door neighbor's daughter, Lily. She was 7. I'd only ever seen her in passing, a quiet shadow being hurried from their huge SUV into their massive, perfectly landscaped home. But now she was on her tiptoes, her small arms deep inside my other neighbor's garbage can. The snow was dusting her hair and shoulders. She was wearing flimsy frozen pajamas, and she was shaking from the cold. My brain short-circuited. What was she doing? Looking for a lost toy? And then she pulled out a half-eaten, discarded peanut butter sandwich from the trash. She didn't even brush off the coffee grounds. She just started to wolf it down like she hadn't eaten in days. A cold dread, colder than the winter air, washed over me. This wasn't right. This wasn't remotely right. "Lily?" I said, my voice soft so I wouldn't startle her. She froze, her eyes wide with pure animal fear. She dropped the sandwich like it was on fire and scrambled back towards her house, disappearing through the side gate. I stood there, frozen myself, the trash bag forgotten in my hand. My heart was hammering against my ribs. What had I just witnessed? Her parents, Charles and Vanessa, they were, well, wealthy. He was some kind of high-powered finance guy. She was a lifestyle influencer. Their social media was a curated highlight reel of luxury vacations, designer clothes, and gourmet meals. Vanessa's entire brand was Blessed Iv Family. First grateful. It was a lie. A beautiful, grotesque lie. The next few hours were a blur. I tried to focus on Chloe, on leaving cookies out for Santa, but my mind was across the street. Every laugh from Chloe felt punctuated by the memory of Lily's fearful eyes. I couldn't just do nothing. After I tucked Chloe into bed, I made a decision. I filled a plate with the cookies we'd baked, a little lopsided, covered in too much red and green icing, and I walked across the street. I rang the bell. The door was answered by Charles. He was holding a glass of red wine, and behind him, I could see their towering, professionally decorated Christmas tree. It was pristine, sterile, not a single homemade ornament in sight. "Mark, it's late. Can I help you?" "Hey, Charles. Merry Christmas. We baked a few too many cookies. Thought Lily might like some." Vanessa glided into view then, phone in hand, probably looking for the perfect shot. She gave the plate a look of pure disdain. "Oh, how sweet. But we're very careful about Lily's diet. Organic, gluten-free, low sugar. Can't have her spoiling her appetite before the big day. But thank you for the thought." She didn't even take the plate. Charles just nodded and began to shut the door. But before it closed, I saw past them. And I saw Lily. She was sitting at the bottom of the grand staircase, just watching. Her eyes were locked on that plate of cookies like they were a treasure she could never have. And in that moment, I knew. This wasn't about a diet. This was about control. This was about neglect hidden behind a veil of wealth and perfection. The door clicked shut. I was left standing on their perfect porch, holding a plate of rejected cookies with a burning certainty in my soul. The legal route? Child services on Christmas Eve? It would take hours, maybe days. They had money, they had lawyers. They could spin a story. Lily needed help now, and Charles and Vanessa needed to understand the consequences of their actions tonight. I walked back to my house, a plan forming in my mind. It was a risk, a huge one. But looking at my daughter, safe and warm, and loved in her bed, I knew I had to take it. I picked up my phone, but I didn't call child services. I called 911. My voice was calm, but my hand was shaking as I held the phone. Yes. Hello. I need to report a possible break-in at my neighbor's house, 241 Elm Street. I just saw a small child, a little girl, trying to get in through a side window. She looked frightened and cold. I'm very worried for her safety. Within 3 minutes, the street was lit up with the red and blue flashes of 2 police cruisers. The officers went to the door. Charles answered, now furious. This is outrageous! A break-in? There's no break-in! You're disturbing our Christmas Eve! But the police have a protocol. They heard a report of a child in danger. They insisted on checking the house to clear the premises. That's when I made my move. I walked across the street, holding the plate of cookies like a concerned neighbor. Officers, everything okay? I asked. I brought these over earlier for their daughter, Lily. I hope she's all right. The mention of a child locked the officers in. They had to see her now. They pushed past a sputtering Charles and a now pale Vanessa. And that's when they found her. She wasn't in her bedroom. She was in the walk-in pantry, curled up on the floor with a single protein bar wrapper next to her. She'd been hiding there, eating what little she could find. The scene unfolded like a slow-motion car crash. The officer's demeanor changed instantly from routine check to intense focus. They saw the disparity. The pristine mansion versus the malnourished child in the pantry. Vanessa started crying, not out of guilt, but out of humiliation. Charles was shouting about lawsuits, about harassment, but the cops weren't listening. One officer was radioing for a social worker immediately. The other was kneeling down, talking to Lily in a soft, gentle voice, offering her one of the cookies from my plate. She took it, and the tiny, grateful smile she gave him. It shattered my heart and put it back together all at once. I stood in the doorway, watching the perfect facade of Charles and Vanessa's life crumble into dust. Their wealth, their status, their Instagram perfect image, it meant nothing. It was all gone, exposed as a hollow shell in the face of their own cruelty. There was no shouting triumph, no grand speech, just a deep, settling calm. The quiet satisfaction of knowing a child was now safe and her tormentors were facing the one thing they couldn't buy their way out of, the law. Lily was placed with her grandparents that night. Charles and Vanessa eventually lost custody. Their revenge wasn't delivered by me, but by the consequences of their own actions. I just opened the door. Sometimes the most satisfying payback isn't about vengeance, it's about justice. And on that Christmas Eve, justice was the best gift of all. If this story of justice on Christmas Eve restored your faith in karma, then do this channel a huge favor. Smash that like button and subscribe for more stories where the good guys win. Now, I want to hear from you. What's a time you saw someone get exactly what they deserved? Tell me your story in the comments below. Thanks for watching.